I'm sure like many of you are aware of how the jabs cause problems like problems like heart inflammation and blood clots. So like particularly in like young males. So I'm sure that's like become like public and common knowledge now. So um, yeah, but I don't know if many people are aware of this, but now it's like getting reported that like athletes are now beginning to suffer like adverse effects from getting the jab. So I want to pull up an article right now that helps explain it all because I thought because I thought athletes like they wouldn't like suffer any like effects from getting the jab. It seems like they're not exempt from, I guess, suffering the same effects as regular people do. So I'm gonna pull up an article right now. Um, so this is from Signs of the Times. It says sudden sudden cardiac and unexplained deaths among FIFA athletes increased by 500% in 2021. It says the Israeli real-time news Tuesday report a 500% increase in sudden cardiac and unexplained deaths among FIFA players in 2021. Since December, 183 professional athletes and coaches have suddenly collapsed with 108 dead. A real-time news investigation revealed that most of the athletes were males, with only 15 females, and the vast majority being 17 to 14 years of age. Only 21 or older, 5 aged 42 to 45, 6 aged 46 to 49, 7 aged 51 to 54, and 3 others aged 60 to 64. 23 were teenagers, aged 12, 17, of whom 16 died. Wow. So yeah, it was mostly like the teenagers that got affected from that suffered like the most problems. So like yeah, 16 of them died. So like the 12 to 17 age group was like the most affected out of all of the age groups when it comes to all this like cardiac and collapsing stuff. So and then there's a video like there's a video here. Uh, yeah, there's a video here to play, so I'm gonna play it right now. Put it full screen. Okay, so that's the end of the video. So yeah, in that video, it was about yeah, it says like Sergio Aguero shortness of breath. So yeah, apparently like he had trouble breathing like while it's like challenging for the ball and all that. So yeah, he ended up like not being. I think he had to be taken off during the game. So because he had trouble like breathing. So it might be because of the cardiac or like heart problem thing. So then it says The investigation revealed in over 80 of the cases, such as football star Sergio Aguero, who was in the video I just played that I just played, and Christian Eriksen, the athletes collapsed while playing. The athletes collapsed while playing. Um, Racing or training or immediately after. Scientific literature calls the phenomenon of athletes collapsing for reasons unrelated to injury rare. In most cases, the cause of the collapse was heart related, including myocarditis, pericarditis, heart, heart attacks, or cardiac arrest, with the second most prevalent cause being clotting events. Real time news emphasized that the list we have is even longer, but for the sake of caution, dozens of cases were removed, for which we did not have full details, so that only cases that were reported in detail were included. They continued. In addition, cases were removed in which evidence of previous risk factors was mentioned, such as cardiac disease or diabetes. To get a better picture of the data compared to previous years, Real Time News only looked at data relating to deaths among athletes registered with FIFA and compared the data regarding the number of sudden cardiac death (SCD) slash sudden unexplained death (SUD) among athletes in previous years to the number of cases in 2021 to find out how many deaths actually occurred during the last 2 decades among FIFA players from 2001 to 2020. They used Wikipedia, a list of association footballers who died while playing. To know how many cases occurred in 2021, they used a list collected by Real Time News that includes the cases noted in Wikipedia for 2021. Hebrew University Institute of Criminology Department of Sociology and Anthropology senior lecturer Dr. Josh Getzko analyzed the data and told Real Time News an article published in the British Medical Journal shows that the risk of SCD is 1 in 50,000, with a range from 1 in 30,000 to 1 in 80,000. He continued. According to FIFA data, in 2000 there were 242,000 athletes registered in the association, and in 2006 there were 265,000 athletes registered. Assuming FIFA has not changed significantly in 20 years, we can expect about 5 deaths a year. Then it says, according to Wikipedia, under list of association footballers who died while playing, in 2001 to 2020, there was an average of 4.2 deaths per year attributed to SCD or SUD, the vast majority being STD. In contrast, in 2021, according to Real Time News' list, there were 21 cases of SCD/SUD among FIFA players. In other words, instead of 4 SCD/SUD deaths per year, according to Wikipedia data, or 5 cases per year, calculated according to the BMJ, during 2001 to 2020, 21 players have died so far this year. So this year meaning 2021. So 21 players have died so far in 2021. So then it says the list of 183 athletes who collapsed and or died since December 2020 can be viewed here. What's this? Here's another video. It says footballer Christian Eriksen suffers heart attack. I'm gonna play the video. right, so I think that's, yes, so that's the end of the video. Uh, can Okay, and I think that's the end of the article. So yeah, this is just an example of like, so yeah, even though it talked specifically about FIFA athletes, like this is an example of like um, how a lot of how athletes they're beginning to suffer like adverse effects from getting the jab. So it's not only regular people that are experiencing these problems, but it's also athletes that are also like having to endure these same problems too from getting the jab. So yeah, so that's the end of this article. So I can um, yeah, think yeah, that's the end of this article now. Okay, so you can close that now. So yeah, so now like even like so now like the athletes are beginning to suffer from these same issues as well, like myocarditis and heart inflammation, all that. So like there was two videos that I showed in that article that that showed like players well, like one of them collapsed like in the middle of a game. So and the other one had like some type of chest problem or breathing problem. So that's like I think one of the side effects from the jab as well. So um, the detail about like the about the cardiac arrest and all that in the athletes. So here it is. This is from Real Science. Um, yes, this is from Real Science. It says 298 298 athlete cardiac arrest, serious issues, 170 dead after COVID shot. So this is from December 10th. It says it is definitely not normal for young athletes. So it's actually updated December 10th. So it says it is definitely not normal for young athletes to suffer from cardiac arrest or to die while playing their sport. But this year it is happening. All of these heart attacks and deaths come shortly after they got a COVID shot. While it is possible this can happen to people who did not get a COVID shot, the sheer numbers clearly point to the only obvious cause. The so called health professionals running the COVID shot programs around the world keep repeating that the COVID shot is a normal jab and it is safe and effective. So that, yeah, like that's a common problem where, yeah, like in Canada too, like they're doing the same thing is happening where they're like these government like these politicians and like public health officials or medical officials, whatever you want to call them, they're all saying the same thing, like how these jobs are safe and all that, and like how like it yeah like how it's safe and effective and all that while like down while ignoring or downplaying like the adverse effects from taking these jabs. So yeah, that's a common problem with a lot of um, so-called health professionals. Then it says, so in response to their pronouncement, here's a non-exhaustive and continuously growing list of young athletes who had major medical issues in 2021 after receiving one or more COVID shots. Initially, many of these were not reported. We know that many people were told not to tell anyone about their adverse reactions, and the media was not reporting them. They started happening after the first COVID jabs. The mainstream media still are not reporting most, but sports news cannot ignore the fact that soccer players and other stars collapse in the middle. So, yeah. So as I was saying, it says, but sports news cannot ignore the fact that soccer players and other stars collapse in the middle of a game due to a heart attack. Many of those die, about 50%. That's a lot. Like 50%. That's not. That's like a lot for like the amount of people dying. So then it says many sports teams now have multiple sideline players. There are dozens of them. The teams and big media are hiding this, thinking we won't notice. These damaged players will not be shown in this report if they are reported as illness, but they would be worth tracking because it is not normal to have so many. Their immune systems are likely to have been compromised by something, in quotations, so they will be open to many things they would normally have been able to shrug off. We leave it to others to track these. We have our hands full handling the investigations for this list because we're going back in time trying to find new information that wasn't available before. It'll all come out eventually. And then there's a graph. Um, yeah, it's showing a graph there that says athlete collapse and deaths from 2021. So, so yeah, here's a graph. I don't think it might be a little bit hard to read it, but it says, but like the blue part is like the collapse, like the number of players that collapse, and then the red part is like number of deaths. So like you'll notice how like the number of collapses is like higher, while the number of deaths is like a little bit lower, is lower compared to number of collapses. So yeah, it says athlete collapse and deaths chart to December 10, 2021. Then it says list of injuries. Here's a non-exhaustive list. Here's a non-exhaustive list of injuries reported. Most were cardiac arrest, heart attack or cardiac arrest, blood clot or thrombosis, stroke, irregular heartbeat, arrhythmia, neuropathy, death. Growing report. This story will grow over time as new information is added. If you have proof of information that we don't already have, or if you have a correction, please send it through our contact form with as much information as possible. So useful information will be the person's name, age, what happened to them if they had the COVID jab, jab or jabs, date of death, link to any news story. So So, for the skeptics who believe this is normal, feel free to repeat the following 18 words after reading each record or name in this list. So, says repeat this after reading each line. The COVID shot is a normal jab. The COVID shot is safe. These injuries and deaths are normal. That's the line it's saying to repeat to yourself if you think it's all normal. So it's this part repeat this after reading each line. And now it's showing all it's showing like the months. So now it's showing all the names of the players suffered like suffered like problems after getting their jab. So yeah, so the players that collapsed and died from getting the jab. So yeah, so these are all the names here. Not going to read all of them because it's a really long list. So these are all the names from January, and then February 2021. So this is from February of 2021. So this is from March of 2021. Like these are all the names of the players that either that collapsed or died or a combination of both. So yeah, these are all the names here. So this is from the month of March. So and then it says here like Moussa Dembele, Atletico Madrid striker, collapsed in training and received medical attention. And there's a link to the story as well. And yeah, and it also says like a referee, like Charles Bulu, Ghanaian referee, collapsed during AFCON match. So like even referees, they're like collapsing too. It's not only like players or athletes. So this is April 2021. So so like these are all the names of the players or athletes that had like issues that either like collapsed or died or combination of both. So this is from the month of May 2021. So all these names here, like they either like collapsed or suffered some type of problem after they got the jab. So yeah, like all these names here. Uh, and this one over here says Germany, Miroslav Klose, 42, former Germany striker and assistant coach at Bayern Munich, suffering from blood clots in his leg. So like, yeah, so like you could even get blood clots in the leg if you get this jab. So it says had stopped coaching. Apparently, clear by September after medication and special socks. Then it says the next one says like Hazik Kamarudin, 27, Olympian archer, died of coronary artery disease. Died 10 days after Pfizer injections on April 13 and May 4, 2021. And the last one says Adam Bounds, a football player, died so 30 of a severe brain bleed in Dareford Hospital 11 days after AstraZeneca jab. And there's a link to the story. And this is from June 2021. So like this one here is getting like lots of attention, especially within like the FIFA athletes, because I think like this was like the first time like someone someone within like FIFA, like an athlete within FIFA, like began suffering problems from getting the jab. So this one says Denmark, 29 years old. Christian Eriksen, 29, star Inter Milan footballer, collapsed with a cardiac arrest on the pitch 12 days after receiving a Pfizer shot on May 31st. Revived with defibrillator. Team doctor confirmed the team was jabbed on May 18th. This may have meant all had received at least one shot because another report mentions May 31st. Yeah, there's a news article to it as well. So yeah, so for Christian Eriksen, yeah, like I know this incident, it's being mentioned a lot when it comes to when it comes to like the athletes, especially like the FIFA athletes, like suffering from like these adverse reactions. So yeah, I think his got like the most attention because it happened during like a tournament, and it was like yeah, it was happening like while a tournament was happening. So yeah, like his incident got a lot of attention. So and also like here it says so 12 days after receiving a Pfizer jab on May 31st, he collapsed with cardiac arrest. So but when you read like the news stories and all that, they say like he wasn't jabbed. Yeah, like he wasn't jabbed or anything. So I don't know. Maybe they were lying, or they either didn't know, or maybe they were lying intentionally when they said he wasn't jabbed. So because here it says like he received a Pfizer shot, but like when you read the other like news outlets or news stories, they say like he was unjabbed. So I don't know what's happening there. I think they're probably yeah, like I think someone's lying. So yeah, the team doctor confirmed that like the whole team was jabbed. So yeah, like I think someone might be lying if they said like he was unjabbed. So yeah, this is all from June and then July 2021. So Ivan Hicks, footballer, died during scrimmage. Coroner found an enlarged heart and scarring, but no myocarditis or inflammation. Verdict: cardiovascular disease, tested positive for COVID. Number 64 says Toronto, Canada. Jen Gouveia, 31, Toronto mother, collapsed and died suddenly on Sunday while out for a run in High Park. News story. While out for a run in High Park. There's a link to the story. So here it says Charles City, Indiana, USA. Carly Stevenson. So this one says Charles City, Indiana, USA. Carly Stevenson of Wartburg College shot, put in disgust. Athlete collapsed and was rushed to hospital with blood clots to her lungs and heart. She had trouble speaking and breathing, and then her heart stopped. She was resuscitated 3 times. She lost her balance, head control, head control, hand and arm movements, and communication skills. And there's a link to the story. it says. So here it says Georgia, USA. Dead. Joshua Ivory, 15, football player, collapsed and died during game. Coroner reports that cardiac dysrhythmia triggered sudden cardiac arrest. And then it's then August 2021. So these are all the names from. These are all like the athletes that had problems or died from, or like that had adverse reactions to the jab. So here are all the names from August 2021. It's a long list. So number 103 says Belgium, Jarno van Herk. Jab suddenly felt stabbing in his chest during the Herman van Springel Diamond. Three young Belgian Kempen cyclists suffer heart issues following a race. Riders from Akroc, Tormans, BC, Joe Erpels and Aaron Arendonk ended up in intensive care. Xander Verhagen and from Giel had problems at training, and Jarno van Herk suddenly felt stabbing in his chest during the Herman van Springel Diamond. And this is from September of 2021. Like here are the names from here are all the incidences from September 2021. So it's a long list. And then this is from October 2021 now. So here's another list. So it's a long list of names that have suffered problems from the jab. So yeah, so they either died or they suffer like issues like blood clots or chest problems. So it's a long list. So I'm not gonna read all of it. And then this is the one from. So this one I showed a video earlier. So this one says Kun Aguero, striker from FC Barcelona, had to be replaced in a game due to heart problems. He went to hospital for examination. So for that one, I showed the video earlier where he has like trouble breathing during the game. So like I think he has like he has some kind of chest problem. So here then it says Sergio Aguero, 33, Barcelona star striker, suffered chest pains and collapsed in match. Now being treated for heart problems. And there's a link to the news story. And then this now we're moving on to November 2021. So here are all the names of the athletes that suffered problems after getting the jab or died. So long list. So So now it's on to December 2021. So again, like these are all the names of the athletes that either died or suffered problems from getting. Okay, so no reports below this point are included in the counts in the headline. So no reports below this point are included in the jab counts in the headline because of insufficient documentation or other causes are more likely. No documentation found yet. Investigations in progress. No news media documentation found in this section so far. Some names may be spelled incorrectly. Dates may be wrong. We found correct details for more than 10 like this so far. Now we are adding them to this area of the list, but not counting them in the headline total until documentation is found. Any assistance would be appreciated. So I think these are like some more names as well that, but like they can't like, and like they can't like confirm, but I think these are also names as well that might have like suffered issues from the jab. So and then now this may or may not be jab related. There's insufficient information to decide if any of these collapsed or deaths are related to COVID jabs. More investigation is needed. Any help would be appreciated because keeping up with the ongoing investigations isn't easy. These are listed here because they appear in some lists as jab cause, but we believe there's either currently insufficient information to decide or other explanations seem to overrule jab cause such as cancer. So, yes. So here are some more names that may or may not be job related deaths. So or like job or like problems. So yeah, here are like some more names. So then this one is Jack Aguilar, a sophomore accounting major and track athlete. He died. He was found unresponsive in his room. This entry needs to be investigated because a suicide may refer to a different man with the same name. Coles County coroner Ed Schneers. It's a cause of death unknown at the time, but after autopsy gave a suicide verdict, according to some websites, but a coroner's report is not available. And then it says most likely not job related. These collapses or deaths are most likely unrelated to COVID jobs. So here's some more names that are unrelated to the jobs, but like they've still like collapsed or have had like similar issues. So here's some names. First one is Dimitri Leonard, Strasbourg FC footballer, collapsed during game with Lyon. He has played at least 10 matches in 2021. After his collapse, it seems highly unlikely his 2020 collapse was related to the jab. And there's a news story, a link for it. And I think this is like an update or something, update notes. So, okay, so yeah, I think these are like some more names maybe. So then it says that is the current list. All these athletes have suffered heart problems after COVID shots. At the time of initial writing, 28 died. That was not normal, but then 10 days later, 56 deaths were listed, and the numbers are climbing. Any other real jab would have been pulled off the market long before now. The media would be asking questions. They would be pressuring governments, but they are not. And governments are continuing on and running TV and radio and newspaper ads encouraging people to get their first, second, third, fourth shot. Yeah, they're already doing that with these booster shots, saying that people have to get them like every like 6 or so months. So yeah, and then it says perhaps that is why the mainstream media are saying little because they're collecting government money for ads. Yeah, most likely, especially in Canada, since the mainstream media they've been bought off. They've been bought off by the federal government, so because they were given like a $600 million bailout, I believe it was. So yeah, like the mainstream media in Canada, they're just gonna push. They're gonna like they're gonna push this narrative about the jabs being safe and all that. So and it says the deaths and severe reactions will continue until so many people die that it becomes obvious that the shot is 10 times to 100 times worse than the virus that is supposed to treat. These athletes are the canaries in the mine that warn us of imminent danger. They're being hidden so the people who are not paying attention do not see the warning. We only see the athletes because they're in the spotlight. The nobodies, i.e., most citizens, do not make the news. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I think that's the end of the article. So yeah, that was like a really long one. So yeah, I can close that now. So yeah, like I know that was a really long article I just read, but it pretty much explains how a lot of athletes they're beginning to suffer like to suffer from like these adverse reactions from the jab. So it's not so now like it's not only like regular people or people who aren't like famous or considered public figures, but even like athletes are yeah like yeah, and in that article like there's a whole list of names. So yeah, like it was a long list, so I wasn't able to read all of them. But yeah, it just shows how the athletes they're now beginning to suffer like effects from the jab, and it's not being reported by the mainstream media as they've most likely been bought off by the government. So they're trying to push this narrative as well that the jobs are safe and all that. Like yeah, they're trying to push this. Like, they're trying to push the government narrative, saying how the jobs are safe and effective and all that. When in reality, they're causing all sorts of problems, like from from like blood clots to heart issues and chest chest problems too. So yeah, like they're causing a whole lot of problems, but you won't hear about it from the MSM or mainstream media. So that's a big problem. So yeah, like I yeah, my hopefully now like people are paying attention because now that like like celebrities or like athletes now that yeah, hopefully people will start like paying attention now that like athletes are beginning to suffer problems from getting these jabs. So yeah, and like in the mainstream media, they're not gonna report on any of this. They're just gonna downplay all this stuff. So, or they'll just ignore it altogether. So yeah, like so yeah, like people, you have to do your own research and like don't take everything like the government says at face value as they just want you to yeah just believe yeah they just want you to believe whatever they say like at face yeah like they just want you to believe whatever they say without doing your own research. So yeah, like that's everything I want to talk about. I'll be signing off now.